Tech and communication services have been the big winners in the month of May, powered in large part by a surge in enthusiasm over AI. More and more ETF issuers are getting in the game, rolling out new products that offer exposure to AI-centric companies, an especially timely endeavor after a number of tech stocks, including NVIDIA, rode the AI hype train to new highs last week. NVIDIA just topping the $1 trillion mark in the overall market cap. Roundhill Investments has just expanded its lineup of thematic offerings by launching a new generative AI ETF, ticker CHAT. And Dave, you run that fund. Your goal here is to make this ETF sort of a pure play product. Tell us about it.
Yeah, no, happy to do so. So the CHAT ETF, and the ticker is CHAT, is focused on companies that are at the forefront of generative AI. The term AI has been around for a while. There's existing ETFs focused on AI and robotics, but nothing on the killer app, which is the generative AI and ChatGPT. It's the fastest growing application to 100 million users, faster than Uber, TikTok, and really all the applications and technologies that we take for granted at this point. And what we're doing is looking to seek out those companies. Investors will see around 25 to 50. There's around 30 names in the portfolio today that are focused on generative AI. And so there's going to be names like NVIDIA, which is providing the chips that are required for this revolution. Names like Microsoft, of course, which has an investment in OpenAI's itself. And then other names, C3AI, which is an AI-exposed company. You're going to see, of course, in the top 5 holdings, a name like Alphabet, with their working with their Bard, and AMD, another chip maker. But if you actually go down the list, there's going to be many names that are smaller, more mid cap, perhaps even some micro cap companies in there that have that AI exposure. This is an area that's going to get a lot of attention. We already are seeing it. Look at the valuation multiples of NVIDIA. But these companies, we believe, are not just a fad. They're powering something that could be as ubiquitous as the internet itself and as something like the iPhone. And it's not just us saying this. It's research firms like Goldman Sachs and others, and CEOs of Fortune 500 companies who are working on their AI strategies today so that they're not left behind in the future.
John, what do you think? Do you foresee real investor appetite for these more targeted ETFs rather than exposure to the watered-down ETFs that are largely concentrated in mega-cap tech names? Are these enough or good alternatives?
Well, so I like a lot of the stocks in Dave's ETF, and we own a lot of them in our quantitative stock portfolios. I think, like, when I look at, like, the CHAT ETF, like, the key there is, like, a lot of those companies are profitable, right? I think, like, 2-3 years ago, it was all about disruptive growth. Those are unprofitable tech companies, right? Small, kind of micro cap, mid cap, not a lot, like hopes and dream stocks. Whereas I think, a lot of the stocks that, in Dave's ETF, like, these are the big bellwethers, right? So if you can get like a much more narrowed, focused way to kind of play it, like, I'm a supporter of it. So I think there's going to be a lot more ETFs to come in this space. I mean, there's at least 4 or 5 that have the word AI in the ETF name, and then there's countless others that give you exposure to the semiconductors. But this is what the ETF industry does, right? It launches a lot of products, and you got to really look under the hood and make sure you're getting that exposure to this generative AI. And Dave's firm seems to be doing that pretty well so far. So,
Dave, are there any regulatory hurdles along the way? We just saw a statement released by the Center for AI Safety signed by more than 350 leaders, researchers, engineers, warning about the risk of extinction if things get out of hand.
Yeah, I think we're still at the early stages of seeing generative AI expand into areas where you could see impact negatively on humanity or the world itself. As of right now, and I think John raises a great point, the companies that you're going to find in this portfolio are highly profitable companies with existing revenue streams, and in many cases, like NVIDIA, moats around their businesses on the AI side, on generative AI side, that other companies are going to have a hard time disrupting. So we're not talking about hopes and dreams, some theme or fad that could happen 30 years in the future, which may change the world. This is happening today. Grandmas and grandpas, college students can all use ChatGPT. It's so easy to use. It's ubiquitous. And so, yeah, time will tell. Regulations may come into this space. But I think people are realizing that this isn't necessarily displacing what workers can do or what we can do as consumers. It's complementing it. I heard a great quote actually coming out of a company saying what ChatGPT can do, or what I should say generative AI and large language models can do, is make everyone a power user. And how great is that? I might just not necessarily need to have expertise in that particular technology or that space, but I can lean on this as an assistant, as sort of a chatbot to help me make better decisions, whether that's in the medical field or working on an insurance claim.
John, when you think about AI, is it a sustainable long-term bet in this market? I mean, Goldman just came out with a note today saying they believe AI could add $7 trillion to annual global GDP over the next 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think technology, is going to make everyone much more productive, streamline your workflow. Some of these mundane, routine systematic tasks that would take a human to do, it's probably just better off using ChatGPT. So even internally in our firm, I'm starting to encourage everyone to, hey, let's try and use ChatGPT just to kind of streamline our processes. So I don't think it's a fad per se, but I'd be remiss, Seema, if I did not say, as a kind of global macro investor that pays lots of fundamentals, I am kind of concerned about some of the fundamentals of some of these stocks, because I think a lot of it's in the price. So, just be careful. Like, again, we own some of these stocks in the CHAT ETF, but, we've either been long them for a while and we've been the beneficiary of this move of late. But, to be buying it now, like, you just have to pay attention to fundamentals and what price you're getting in at.